نستعين صلى الله وسلم على نبينا الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Respected elders and brothers, alhamdulillah, today we will start the Tafsīr of Surah An-Nur to the 18th juz after Surah Al-Mu'minun. Surah An-Nur is Madaniyah, so a lot of ahkam and rules and regulations are there. And similarly, some aqidah issues are also mentioned in this surah. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, Surah, this is a surah. Now every surah is a surah. How come this surah is called surah? To give importance to this surah. And the surah literally means something that's held high, with high esteem. That's the literal meaning of surah. So because every surah is held in high esteem because the word of Allah Azza wa Jalla, that's why it's called surah. So this surah we have revealed, وَفَرَضْنَاهَا, and we have made further prescribed in it. We've made a lot of ahkam fard in this surah. Some of the surah, right? So a lot of ahkam will be in this surah. وَأَنزَلْنَا فِيهَا آيَاتٍ بَيِّنَاتٍ, and we revealed in it some clear verses, and verses regarding aqidah, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ, so that you may be reminded. And the word reminded hints us that aqidah is already in our hearts, right? We need to be reminded about our aqidah. So some fiqh ahkam and some aqidah issues as well. So right on the next verse, the ahkam, the fiqh related issues are brought. And it talks about actually one of the very serious and touchy, taboo subjects. It's very, it has a lot to do with our society that we live in now. And it's one of the heinous crimes that does and can take place in a family. And that is the sin and the crime of being involved in things that are outside of marriage. And az-zaniyatu waz-zani, Allah Azza wa Jalla says the female person who commits zina, waz-zani, and the male person who commits zina, فَاجْلِدُوا كُلَّ وَاحِدٍ مِّنْهُمَا مِئَةَ جَلْدَةٍ. Then what is the Quranic, the divine punishment of that, of the consequence? What is the result, or how are those people punished? Allah Azza wa Jalla says, فَاجْلِدُوا كُلَّ وَاحِدٍ مِّنْهُمَا مِئَةَ جَلْدَةٍ. Then each one shall be, jald is whipped, right? فَاجْلِدُوا كُلَّ وَاحِدٍ مِئَةَ جَلْدَةٍ, 100 times. Now you might say it's severe, and because it's not that we're just people, because we live in a society where everyone says Islamic rulings are severe and harsh, and they're not in this time and age. You have to look at, these are directly from Allah Azza wa Jalla. And outwardly it might look like it's harsh, but if we take a society where this has been implemented in practice, you will see that the rates of crime is very, very low. So I think King Faisal one time he came to America, and the president at the time told him that, listen, you guys are very harsh, you guys implement these harsh punishments on your people. So all he said is that look at the crime rates in your country and look at the crime rates in my country. I used to live in Saudi for several years. Sometimes we used to watch the news. The news was, very dry and boring. There's no crime. Like, you never hear that this person got shot or murdered or assassinated. It's dry. It's just this king met that king, this Amir met that Amir, and that's it. Right? Crime rate is very low because the punishment is so grave, and it's not something light. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ. That when qisas is implemented, you're actually reviving, giving life to people. Well, you might say when qisas is done, someone is, slaughtered or killed, or they're murdered. How can you say there's life in it? There's very big wisdom and hikmah behind this. When people see this, and when people hear that these kind of laws are being implemented, everyone hears about that, and whoever perhaps might have had intention of carrying something out like that, they will get scared and they won't, carry out that crime that they had in their mind. So what is qisas actually doing? Qisas is saving life, right? When we implement these punishments, we have to have a group of people that are watching that punishment being taken place. And we'll see in the verse that's coming. So Allah Azza wa Jalla says, whip them 100 times. وَلَا تَأْخُذْكُمْ بِمَا رَأْفَةٌ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ إِن كُنتُمْ تُؤْمِنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. And ra'fa is like kindness and softness. The person that whips, make sure that no softness, no kindness should overtake him while he's carrying this punishment out. That's why sometimes people would say, you're such a jallad, maybe in some languages, meaning you have no heart, you are able to do some things without any emotions. So people who are jallad, they actually have to be very emotionless, if you can say. So make sure that emotions don't overtake you while you are carrying out this punishment. In kuntum tu'minu billah, if you truly believe in Allah and in the last day. وَلْيَشْهَدْ عَذَابَهُمَا, and the punishment of those people should be witnessed طَائِفَةٌ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, by a group of believers. They should be watching and seeing. Because one of the bigger lesson from it is that people see and people learn and people get scared and people tell other people who stop and don't carry out any further crimes. Plus, it adds to the punishment of the person who committed zina. So let's say someone committed zina, and the punishment is that 100 times lashed. They could be like, you know what, just take me to a room privately and lash me 100 times until whatever happens, but don't take me in front of people. Sometimes that's a bigger punishment than the lashes itself, right? People seeing you and you being humiliated in front of the whole community. So that adds to the punishment. Yes, and also, in order for these punishments to take place, it's not a very easy matter that, oh, this person did this, bring him 100 times. It's not like that. It's a diligent process that you have to go through, and then once it's established, then you can carry it out. Like, for example, nowadays, removing a president from office, it's there, it's in the laws. But the process is so lengthy and has so many things you have to deal with that it's almost impossible. It rarely occurs. In the history of America, removing a president from office never actually took place, right? Never happened. There's only 3 presidents who got impeached. Andrew Johnson, I don't want to get into politics, but Clinton and the current president. But removing from office, that never really happened, even though it's there because the process is so long. So similarly, the process of implementing these punishments is so long that it rarely occurs. One time a man came to the Prophet and said, "Rasulullah, I committed zina, I committed adultery." The Prophet said, "You don't know what you're talking about," he turned away. He came to him again and said, "Ya Rasulullah, I did it." He turned away. And maybe you're crazy, maybe you're gone mad or something happened to you. Are you sure? It's not just easy, oh, someone said it and it's going to take place. No. Even if someone sees it, it's not enough. He has to confirm. There has to be 4 other people who witness it in front of their eyes, and then they can bring it in front of the judge. If they don't have 4 people and just one person comes, then this person will be punished because it's a big matter. You can't be spreading rumors about people. It's such a sensitive topic. So that's the verse that lays out the punishment of the people who commit zina. And the reason why we must implement, or these rules are so harsh is because when people do commit these crimes, then the society, the lineage of people, all of that gets messed up, right? So it affects our society in a very exponential way. Anyhow, الزاني لا ينكح إلا زانية أو مشركة. A male who commits these kind of sins, they don't want to marry anyone except someone who's like them. Meaning when people get so used to committing zina and adultery, they're not attracted to goodness and pleasant and good things. They're only attracted to people who are like them. وَالزَّانِيَةُ لَا يَنْكِحُهَا إِلَّا زَانٍ أَوْ مُشْرِكٍ. And the female person who does that, they also don't prefer being married to except for a person who's like them. Sometimes a person might have dealt with so much in their life that having someone pure in their life, they might, find it boring or might, barely. Basically, a person's nafs, his desires, his fancies, his fantasies, goes, over the top when he has already ventured into that area of life. وَحُرِّمَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And that has been made haram from the believers to prefer to marry someone who has been through such things. And then the next thing, وَالَّذِينَ يَرْمُونَ الْمُحْصَنَاتِ. Those people who accuse believing women, right? They say that I saw this woman do such and such, believing chaste, modest women. ثُمَّ لَمْ يَأْتُوا بِأَرْبَعَةِ شُهَدَاء. But then they don't come with 4 witnesses, right? So you must be sure of what you're saying. فَجْلِدُوهُمْ ثَمَانِينَ جَلْدَةً. Then that person who comes and says and accuses a person without having witnesses, then they will be whipped 80 times. فاجلدوهم 80 جلدة ولا تقبلوا لهم شهادة أبدا, and their shahada, their testimony or witness will never ever be accepted after that. It's such a huge matter. أولئك هم الفاسقون, and they are considered as fasiqun, fusaq, disobedient people. إلا الذين تابوا من بعد ذلك, except for those who do tawbah after that, وأصلحوا, and become better, فإن الله غفور رحيم, then Allah is forgiving and merciful. Now what if a husband, he sees his wife in such a situation? So one Sahabi, his name was Hilal ibn Umayyah, he came from a business trip and he came to his house and he saw that there was a man in his house. And so he went to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, I saw a man in my house and I'm pretty sure something happened. So until then, the next verses weren't revealed. So the ruling is what? If you don't have 4 people with you, then you will be whipped. So now he's saying, Ya Rasulullah, I'm pretty sure I'm the husband, and I'm pretty sure something like this have happened. What should I do? So then the Prophet ﷺ said that wait until Allah Azza wa Jalla reveals something regarding this matter. And even before this happened, some other Sahaba like Sa'd ibn Ubadah, they said, Ya Rasulullah, what if I come to my house and I see a man in my house? What should I do? Am I going to just let him go? And if I do come and report it to you, then I'm going to be the one that's whipped. So then right after that, this happened with Hilal ibn Umayyah, and then the Prophet ﷺ waited some time, and then these verses were revealed. That man, وَالَّذِينَ يَرْمُونَ أَزْوَاجَهُم, that man, when he sees his wife in a situation like that, وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُمْ شُهَدَاء إِلَّا أَنفُسُهُم, but there is no witness except أنفسهم, except themselves. He's the only person that saw. Then what is it? فَشَهَادَةُ أَحَدِهِمْ أَرْبَعُ شَهَادَاتٍ بِاللَّهِ, and if he doesn't have any proof, then he has to do 4 shahada. He has to take oath 4 times by Allah and say إِنَّهُ لَمِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ, that he is from the truthful and he's honest and he's being honest about this. So he has to take an oath by Allah 4 times. And when you take an oath, it's actually, you get scared if you have a little bit of iman in your heart, right? When you take an oath, even nowadays, when people are brought in hearings and are held as witnesses, they're under oath, right? And unless like a person is a psychopath or is a serial liar, it's very hard to lie under oath, right? So if people do lie under oath, you can probably pick it up by their body language. So the person who doesn't have any proof, then he should take oath 4 times by Allah Azza wa Jal and say he's telling the truth, right? إِنَّهُ لَمِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. And the 5th time, he's going to have to say, أَنَّ لَعْنَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ, that the damnation and the curse of Allah be upon him if he's lying. And you see how severe it is. Like, may Allah's curse be upon me if I'm lying. And before the 5th time, the Prophet ﷺ reminded Hilal ibn Umayyah that, Ya Hilal ibn Umayyah, remember that the adhab of the akhirah is far greater than the adhab in this world. So make sure that you know what you're saying. So he said, I know what I'm saying, Ya Rasulullah. So in the 5th time, he said, the curse of Allah be upon me if I'm lying. And then, so now what? Now should we just implement the punishment on the wife? So now if the wife doesn't have any proof or anything either, and she's denying it, then she has to swear 4 times. She will have to say 4 times by Allah that he is lying. She has to say that. وَيَدَرَوْ عَنْهَا الْعَذَابِ, and punishment will be diverted from her if she takes أَن تَشْهَدَ أَرْبَعَ شَهَادَاتٍ بِاللَّهِ, if she takes 4 oaths by Allah and says إِنَّهُ لَمِنَ الْكَاذِبِينَ, that he is lying, right? And when the 5th time came, the Prophet reminded the wife of Hilal ibn Umayyah that, listen, be careful what you're saying, you're under oath, the punishment of Allah is greater. She was hesitant the 5th time. She stopped for a moment. And then she said, by Allah, I will not disgrace my family. I will not humiliate my family. And then she said the 5th one. Wal-Khamisa, she said that the 5th one was that may the ghadab of Allah, the anger of Allah, the curse of Allah be upon me if he is telling the truth. And then so after that, what happens? The Prophet ﷺ separated between them. And after the time period was over, she delivered a baby. And the Prophet ﷺ said that they won't be ever married again, and the child won't be named after the father. The child will be named after the mother, meaning whatever the child's name was, you would say Ibn and the name of the mother. Like Isa ibn Maryam, Isa, his name is attributed to the mother, right? Because he doesn't have a father. So the Prophet ﷺ said, when the baby does come out and is delivered, then name him after the mother. He can't be attributed to the father because he denied the father. So this is the would be the case if no one there's no proof, and the husband and wife, they have a problem. وَلَوْلَا فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَتُهُ, and if it wasn't for the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jalla upon you, وَرَحْمَتُهُ, and His grace and mercy, وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ تَوَّابٌ, and that Allah is accepting of tawbah, Hakeem, wise. If these qualities of Allah didn't exist, then all of you would have been destroyed. All of you would have been into a big problem. Like Hilal ibn Umayyah, if Allah Azza wa Jalla didn't reveal verses regarding him, then he's the one that would have been whipped in front of, instead of being his wife. And then after that, there's a big incident that happened related to this topic, which with Aisha radiallahu anha. This is a very long incident that took place, where Aisha radiallahu anha, this is in Bukhari, she says that whenever the Prophet ﷺ used to go out in a battle or expedition or a journey, he used to take the names of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, and he used to just draw a lottery or something like that. And whoever's name used to come out, they used to go with the Prophet ﷺ. So she said one time my name came, so I went with the Prophet ﷺ, and this was after the verses of hijab was revealed. And so she says, I went with the caravan, I was with the Prophet ﷺ. After the expedition was over, we're coming back, and at one of the nights the Prophet ﷺ said to take rest, and that night we're going to take rest because the travel and the journey is so long. So she said that I also was taking rest, and at nighttime I went to use the bathroom. In those days there's no bathroom, you gotta go in the bushes, go walk somewhere. She says, I went, while I was coming back, she says I lost my necklace, and that she had. And so she went back to look for it, and she said I got delayed. It happens, right, to all of us. Yesterday I was with my friend, we went out somewhere and came back. He lives in Jersey, so I left my wallet in his car, and I remember today, I called him, he's like, he found this when I was in Jersey, but inshallah he'll be coming tomorrow. But it happens, right? You forget the most precious thing that you don't usually forget. So she lost her necklace, and she went back to look for it, and then when she came to the caravan, she said, لَيْسَ بِهَا دَاعٍ وَلَا مُجِيبٍ. There's no one to call and no one to answer. There was no one there. It was pitch dark and silent. So she was very mature. She said, you know what, what's the most logical thing to do right now? Let me just wait here. They'll realize I'm not here and they'll come back. And you might be like, how come they forgot a whole person? Right? It's not easy to forget a whole person. The reason why she says is because she was being carried in a carriage on top of a camel. You can make a whole room, chamber on top of a camel and walk and sit. And she says women at that time were very khafif. They weren't, obese and big. They were light. There was no food, barely any food. Right? So they weren't heavy. So when the camel went up, no one even realized. And the verses of hijab was revealed. That's why no one was able to look in. You can't look into someone's bedroom, right? It was like a bedroom in there. No one can look in. And so they thought she's inside, so they all went. So she says, I went to sleep at nighttime. And in those days, behind the caravan, there was always someone, a man, or someone who comes later, like hours later, who's just following the caravan, just to make sure that they didn't leave anything behind, any valuables, they didn't leave anything behind, or that there's no enemy coming from the back to attack. So that person happened to be Safwan ibn Mu'attal, radiallahu anhu. So he came and he knew Aisha radiallahu anhu before the verses of hijab was revealed, so he knew her face. So he came, and when he saw that she was all alone, the only thing he kept on repeating is Inna lillahi wa inna ila raji'un. Inna lillahi wa inna ila. That's the only thing he kept on repeating. Aisha radiallahu anha says, by Allah, that's the only thing he kept on repeating, nothing else he said. And then he put his camel down, I went on top of his camel, and he walked in front of me, holding on to the rope of the camel, guiding where to go. Now if he was behind, there might have been that thing that maybe he's looking at her, but he was in front. Similarly, Musa alayhi salam, when he was taking the two daughters of Sheikh alayhi salam back home, he was the one in the front walking, and they were throwing stones, guiding him where to go, to protect his eyes. So Safwan ibn Mu'attal, he did this, and then they called up to the caravan, and now everyone started, so the Munafiqun, Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, and some others also of the Sahaba who fell into this problem, they started saying some things. The Munafiq is the one that started it. Then maybe something happened with them. They stayed alone at night, no one was there. Right? So, and Aisha, she's young, she has no idea what's going on. She's naive, innocent. Right? She doesn't even know that this is being rumored in the community. So she goes back home and she says that whole month I was complaining to the Prophet ﷺ about some sickness I had. And she was sick, maybe fever, whatever it was. And she says that whenever I complained to the Prophet ﷺ, he never really showed me the same love he used to show me before this. So I'm like, what's the matter? What's going on? How come he's being so, unaffectionate towards me? So she was like, maybe whatever, it doesn't really matter. So she moved on. She said after about a month, she went out to use the bathroom again at nighttime with one of her distant grandmas. And then her father, Abu Bakr's aunt, Abu Bakr's khala. So it's like her grandma, right? And so they were using the bathroom, they were coming back, and she tripped on her dress. She had a long dress, and she tripped on it. She was about to fall. And something came out of her mouth. She said, Ta'isa Mistah. Her son's name was Mistah. And Mistah was one of those people that got involved in spreading the rumors. And it just came out of her mouth that may Mistah be cursed. So Aisha said, why are you cursing that man? He was one of the participants of Battle of Badr. And the Prophet said, whoever has participated in Battle of Badr, he will be in Jannah. Why are you cursing him? That was her own son. She said, don't you know what he's been saying about you? He said, no, I don't have no idea. And then she told her the whole story, what happened. So she rushed back home. And look at the maturity of Aisha radiallahu. She didn't just explode at the Prophet ﷺ, her husband. She was even though she was young, she was very mature. All she asked the Prophet ﷺ is that, can I go to my parents' house? She wants to go home and confirm this news before reacting, right? If only we could also implement and practice this forbearance and patience and not overreacting, right? Control, emotional intelligence. So anyhow, she went to her parents' house, she asked her mother, and her mother said, listen, don't worry about it, people are just jealous, you're the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, they're just spreading rumor because they're jealous, don't worry about it, you shouldn't be affected by this. So she said that once I knew this was actually being spread, she said that, izdada maradan ala maradi. I was already sick and now I got more sick. And she said, I couldn't sleep at all. Not a blink of an eye I was able to sleep for 2 nights. And then while this was going on, the Prophet ﷺ, the whole month he's waiting, no revelation, no wahy is coming down. So then the Prophet ﷺ, he called 2 Sahaba, Usama ibn Zayd and Ali radiallahu anhu. He said, what should I do? This is becoming a big deal, problem for my family. What should I do? So Usama ibn Zayd said, Ya Rasulullah, your family is pure. No matter what people are saying, we only think good about your family. So you should forget about it, let go, and just reconcile between your family and move on. And then Ali radiallahu anhu said, Ya Rasulullah, that there's other women besides her, and Allah hasn't imposed any restrictions on you, so you can just marry someone else, forget about this, right? So there's 2 different opinions. And then Ali said, you can ask the slave girl Burayra, who was the maid of Aisha radiallahu anha. You can ask her about her qualities. So the Prophet called Burayra that, have you ever seen anything in her that would raise any doubts? She said, no, by Allah, I haven't seen anything in her character that would raise any such doubts. She said, the only thing that I used to see sometimes is that while she used to knead her dough, she used to fall asleep, and sheep would come and eat from the dough. And it's a mistake a young person would make. But besides that, there's no question about her character. So I don't know why people would even think that this is possible. So anyhow, now Prophet ﷺ, again, then he goes to the masjid, the Prophet ﷺ, and then he asks the Sahaba, listen, there's a person who's been spreading this rumor. Would you guys help me? Would you guys excuse me if I implement a punishment on him and hold him accountable? So Sa'd ibn Mu'adh said, Ya Rasulullah, tell us who's that person and we'll take care of him. And then Sa'd ibn Ubadah, he was the leader of the other tribe, he said, there's no way you can hold accountable and you can punish people from my tribe. Nationalism and tribalism, that came into play. And then Usayd ibn Hudayr, who was the cousin of Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, he called Sa'd ibn Ubadah and said, you are a munafiq and you are protecting the munafiqun. And there was a whole brawl and a quarrel and an argument in the masjid. And the Prophet was there. And the Prophet continued to khaffadahum. He continued to keep them quiet, be quiet. And then everyone got quiet. And then after that, the Prophet went to Aisha radiallahu anha. And Aisha, she said that I was weeping and was crying the whole time. And then a woman from the Ansari, she came and she tried to give me condolences and give me good words and encourage me and say that this will be all over. They say 3 people you should remember. The person who's by your side in your difficult times, the person who leaves your side in your difficult times, and the person who puts you in your difficult times. So sisterhood, she came just to encourage her, tell her things will be better, you should get over this, etc. So she said, while this woman was with me, the Prophet ﷺ came, and the Prophet ﷺ proposed something to me. And he said that, listen, if you have done a mistake, if you have done something wrong, this is getting out of hands, you have to get over this. If you have done something wrong, then do tawbah, and will be end of story, Allah will forgive you. And if you haven't done anything, then you just wait, Allah Azza wa Jalla will exonerate you, will make you innocent and say that you weren't, you didn't make this mistake. So then Aisha radiallahu anha says, what am I supposed to say? If I say that I didn't do it, you won't believe me because everybody's saying I did it. So you won't believe me. And if I say that I did do it, then I will be wronging myself because I didn't do it. Right? Why am I going to be confessing to something I didn't do? Right? And I'll be remembered throughout history that I did something. So she said that I knew Allah Azza wa Jalla would exonerate me and He would, maybe show the Prophet in his dream that I am innocent. But she said, I never expected Allah Azza wa Jalla would reveal verses regarding me in the Quran that would be recited until the day of Qiyamah. So then Aisha radiallahu anha says, while we were there, sitting there, it was a cold winter day. It was cold. The Prophet he started sweating out of nowhere, sweating profusely. And he started shivering. And this used to happen to the Prophet when he was receiving revelation and wahi. This used to happen to him. So she said, I knew that she was receiving wahi. And when this episode was over, the Prophet said that, he said that فَقَدْ بَرَّاكِ اللَّهِ, Allah Azza wa Jalla has exonerated you and made you innocent. And then he read these verses that are in front of us right now. And then the mother of Aisha radiallahu anha said, go to the Prophet just say kind words, hug it out basically. And so Aisha radiallahu anha said, I will not go, I will do sajda to Allah Azza wa Jalla, who's the one that exonerated me and made me free and innocent. So these verses are following. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ جَاءُوا بِالْإِفْكِ عُصْبَةٌ مِّنْكُمْ. That indeed those people, a group of people who came with an ifk. Ifk means an accusation, a great slander. This group of people that brought this, لا تحسبوا شرا لكم. Don't think it's bad. Don't think that it's bad. بل هو خير لكم. Rather, it's good for you. It's better for you. Meaning, if that didn't happen, perhaps these verses wouldn't be revealed, and she wouldn't be honored in this manner until the day of judgment. لكل امرئ منهم ما اكتسب من الإثم. Every person who has taken a role in this huge scandal and spread the rumor, every single person will have ما اكتسب من الإثم. Whatever they earned from the sins, they will get the share of that. وَالَّذِي تَوَلَّى كِبْرَهُ. And the one who took the biggest role in this, which is Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, the big munafiq, لَهُ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. He will have the greatest of all punishments. إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. The munafiqun will be in the lowest part of Jahannam. لولا إذ سمعتموه ظن المؤمنون والمؤمنات بأنفسهم خيرا وقالوا هذا إفك مبين. So Allah Azza wa Jalla is instructing the believers that when you heard this, everyone, all the Sahaba, al-mu'minun wal-mu'minat, when you heard this, ظن المؤمنون بأنفسهم خيرا. Why didn't you have husnul dhan? Why didn't you think good of people? We're supposed to have husnul dhan about people. When you heard this, why didn't you just dismiss it and say, no, this can't happen, and think good of others, right? وقالوا هذا إفك مبين. But they said that, and you could have said that this is a ifkun mubin, this is a great slander, this is a great accusation, this has no base of truth. Why didn't you do that? You were supposed to do that. لولا جاءوا عليه بأربعة شهداء. Why didn't they come with 4 witnesses? How you just assume things? You're supposed to come with 4 witnesses. فإذا لم يأتوا بشهداء. But if they don't come with witnesses, فأولئك عند الله هم كاذبون. Then they are with Allah كاذبون, liars. And if you're written as a liar in the scribes and the books that are with Allah Azza wa Jal, then لا يمحى ولا يبدل. Some things are never erased and never changed. Right? So they will be recorded with Allah as liars. ولولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته في الدنيا والآخرة لمسكم فيما أفضتم فيه عذاب عظيم. And if it wasn't for the grace and rahmah of Allah Azza wa Jal in this dunya and the akhirah, then a adhabun azim, a great punishment would have afflicted you, would have befall you because of what you got involved in. إذ تلقونه بألسنتكم وتقولون بأفواهكم ما ليس لكم به علم وتحسبونه هينا وهو عند الله عظيم. When you took whatever you heard from people, تلقونه بألسنتكم, you met it with your tongue, you accepted it. وتقولون بأفواهكم, when you started saying it with your mouth, ما ليس لكم به علم, which you have no knowledge of. You just heard it and you just spread it around. The Prophet ﷺ said one of the greatest sins is qila wa qal, that you hear something and you just say it to other people and spread rumors. وَتَحْسَبُونَ هَيِّنًا, and you think it's something light. It's not a big deal, just spread rumors. وَهُوَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ عَظِيمٌ, but with Allah Azza wa Jal, it's such a great matter. Anas radiallahu anhu, he was one of the youngest Sahaba, right? He was very young when he was with the Prophet ﷺ. So he died very late, and he ended up seeing a lot of tabi'eens, tabi'een as well. Some say he met Abu Hanifa as well. But anyhow, he lived a long time. And he told the tabi'een that you guys do some things that, and you think it's light. You do some things, some actions of yours, you do. You think it's not a big deal, it's a light matter. But in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, كُنَّا نَعُدُّهُ مِنَ الْمُوبِقَاتِ, we used to count it from the thing that would destroy a person. This is Anas saying to a tabi'een, right? That you guys do things and you don't think it's a big deal, but it was a great deal when in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So here, وَتَحْسَبُونَ هَيِّنًا, you think it's not a big deal, it's whatever, just spread rumors about people, but it is a great matter in the sight of Allah. Inshallah, we'll continue from here. The story is even longer, we can't finish it today even if we tried. But inshallah, we'll try to finish next week and continue from where we left off here on verse 15. Inshallah. Any questions or comments? If not, jazakumullah khairan. Inshallah, we will meet again next week. Allah reward you guys all. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.